The detective put a child's drawing on my kitchen table and asked, "Did your old house ever have a basement?" I stared at him, because I had lived there for 20 years and never seen one. The drawing showed my house perfectly: the crooked porch, the dead oak tree, even the tiny window beside the kitchen. But underneath the stairs was a black door I had never noticed. The detective said the drawing had reopened a cold case from 1996. A 7-year-old boy named Daniel Miller had disappeared, and his last known location was my neighborhood. My hands went cold when I saw the boy's name. I remembered my father mentioning Daniel years ago, then suddenly changing the subject. If you like emotional family mysteries where one secret can change everything, subscribe to Family Betrayal. That night, I pulled out every old photograph from my house. In one picture taken shortly after we moved in, I noticed something strange behind a stack of boxes, a wooden panel that looked different from the rest of the wall. I had never paid attention to it. I pushed the boxes aside. The panel moved. Behind it was a narrow staircase covered in dust. I stood there frozen, wondering why my father had never told me about it. Then I heard something fall below. I slowly turned on my flashlight and stepped down. At the bottom, I found an old wooden toy car. 2 letters were carved into its side: DM, Daniel Miller. My heart stopped. The detective's drawing wasn't a mystery anymore. It was a warning. I called the detective before touching anything else. He arrived within an hour. He changed when he saw the toy car. He looked at me and asked, "Are you sure nobody in your family ever mentioned this basement?" I shook my head. My father had said the house had no basement. We found several old drawings pinned behind a broken shelf. One showed my kitchen. The third drawing made my stomach turn. It showed my father beside Daniel. My father had died 20 years earlier. The dates matched Daniel's disappearance. He found a metal box beneath the floorboards. Inside were newspaper clippings, an old photograph, and a sealed letter addressed to my father. My hands trembled as I opened it. The letter said Daniel had seen something dangerous, and my father had hidden him. I froze. Then the detective pointed at one sentence near the bottom. It said Daniel had escaped from the basement before anyone could stop him. That changed everything. If Daniel had escaped, my family's story was wrong. One question remained. Why had Daniel never returned home? The detective turned the photograph over. Written on the back were 4 words: "He knows what happened." Then I recognized the handwriting. It belonged to my older brother. I couldn't sleep after seeing my brother's handwriting. He had always avoided talking about Daniel, and whenever I asked about the old case, he would say, "Some things are better left buried." I used to think he was just being cold. Now I wondered what he had been hiding from me. The detective searched old records and found something nobody in my family had known. Daniel Miller had survived. Years after his disappearance, he had started a new life under another name. But there was more. A recent drawing had been found with Daniel's belongings. It was the same house, the same crooked porch, the same dead tree. Even the hidden basement door was there. Daniel had drawn it from memory. I finally met him at a quiet cafe. I expected anger, but he looked exhausted. He told me he remembered my father taking him into the house after he witnessed something he should never have seen. Then Daniel said something that shocked me. My brother tried to help me. I stared at him. My brother had been blamed silently by our family for years. But Daniel explained that my brother wanted to take him somewhere safe. My father stopped him and threatened to destroy his future if he spoke. I felt tears building in my eyes. I had spent years believing my brother was heartless, when he had actually been carrying a secret that nearly destroyed him. Daniel handed me the original drawing. On the back, in my father's handwriting, was one sentence: "One day he must know." I realized my father had meant me. But Daniel still had one final secret. And when he told me who had actually caused everything, I wished I had never opened that basement door. Daniel looked straight at me and finally told me the truth. My father had been hiding the real story for decades. Daniel had witnessed a serious crime connected to someone outside our family, and my father panicked. Instead of going to the police, he hid Daniel and tried to protect everyone from the consequences. But my brother had secretly tried to help him escape. That was why he had spent his life carrying guilt for something he never did. The detective reopened the case using the letters, drawings, photographs, and Daniel's testimony. For the first time, the truth was no longer buried inside our family. I felt anger toward my father, sadness for my brother, and relief for Daniel. I kept thinking about how one hidden basement had changed everything I believed about my own childhood. Before leaving, Daniel gave me the original drawing. On the back was my father's final message: I was wrong to choose silence. One day he must know. I finally understood that he meant me. I wish my father had told me the truth while he was alive. Maybe I could have forgiven him. Maybe my brother wouldn't have carried that burden alone. But I couldn't change the past. I could only stop the lie from continuing. If you discovered a secret that could destroy your family but finally give someone justice, what would you do? Would you expose the truth or protect the people you loved? Tell me in the comments. And if this story touched you, share it with someone who believes family secrets should never control another generation. Subscribe to Family Betrayal for more stories. I learned something that day. Sometimes the truth breaks your heart, but living inside a lie can break your life. And that basement taught me one final lesson. What families bury in silence can survive for generations, but the truth always finds a way back home.